What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm EthanHorror, and today we are going to be diving into the top 10 most disappointing horror films of the last 5 years, of the 2020s. So, I guess technically 6 years, but still. Now, there have been some very, very bad horror sequels that have come out in the 2020s, but there has also been some original films that I was very excited for, some remakes that I thought could have brought something new to the franchise that really didn't work. So, any bad horror movie of the last 6 years is fair game. And yeah, we're going to be going through the 10 that disappointed me the absolute most. Coming in at number 10, this one I was excited for it, but I also was like, yeah, there's a realistic chance that this movie could suck. I'm going with I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the original trilogy. I like the first one, and the second one is a watchable slasher film, but this one brought back the cast of the first two. You get Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I think Sarah Michelle Gellar in it for a cameo, and Freddie Prinze Jr., so you get all of the cast of the first one coming back and giving you a new I Know You Did Last Summer film. And they just botched it. Like, they botched it. I have laid into this movie multiple times on why it is one of the worst horror films of the last few years. It started off competent. I don't know if it started off strong, but it started off competent, and then it just evolves into an absolutely awful film. Like, the way that they end this film, they go for a twist that is simply there for shock value and makes absolutely no sense for any of the characters. Like, it would be essentially if at the end of Scream 5, Dewey was the killer. Or no, I guess because Dewey dies in that. At the end of Scream 4, if Dewey was the killer. Like, it just wouldn't make any bit of sense because of what we've seen him do in the last two films he was in. So the killer reveals are, the first killer reveal is like, yes, using process of elimination, clearly she's the one. And then the other one, which I don't want to spoil either of them if you haven't seen it, but they're pretty awful. Like, they are some of the worst killer reveals I've ever seen in a movie. So bringing back the original cast, they underused them and then just completely ruined one of their characters. So I hated this one. Coming in at number 9, this one was a sequel I was actually pretty excited for, but they just completely botched it, and that is going to be Babysitter 2: Killer Queen. Now, I watched the original Babysitter on Netflix, and I actually really enjoy that film. I think it is a very, very good slasher movie. I love Samara Weaving. She's one of my favorite horror scream queens, so getting her as a villain in here is very good. And then we get this one, where they just take every good bit of the last film and shove it down a garbage disposal. Like, you get that super sweet romance with him and the other girl. Yeah, the other girl is in on the cult, and she's actually a villain now. And, yeah, now you get nothing. You get nothing. You get no emotional core, because you get this main character. I guess you get him and Jenna Ortega, but I don't really care for Jenna Ortega's character in this all that much. He's fine still. And then we also don't get Samara Weaving. We only get the annoying side characters, which they are fine in the first movie, but they're annoying as hell, and we need Samara Weaving to kind of ground the group. And in this one, they take away Samara Weaving. You only get the annoying side characters. You ruin one of the characters from the first film, and you go 100% humor. Nothing is taken seriously. Nothing is even slightly a serious moment. It's just all 100% played for laughs, played for comedy, and some of the jokes are cringeworthy and terrible, and I just really did not like anything this movie tried. Coming in at number 8, I believe, is the only original film on my list. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it is. And that's Him from last year. Now, if you don't know me, I absolutely love horror movies. obviously, but I also really, really like the NFL and football, and I like to watch football. I don't like to play it. I try. I tried in high school. Didn't work out, but I really, really like football. So a football horror movie really intrigued me. You throw in one of the Wayans brothers, and I was really excited for this film. It was one of my most anticipated films of last year, and then they just don't do anything. They just don't do a film. They just make a bunch of interconnected scenes. Like, there's a bunch of creepy scenes in here and creepy moments, and I like the skeletal camera shots, but there's no plot. There's no story. Like, it's just him walking around this football base while creepy things happen, and then in the last 5 minutes, they're like, oh yeah, you need to kill him to become the new football superstar. And then he does it, and then the movie ends. So I wanted to like it so bad. I was so excited for it, but it's just not a good film. Like, there's no plot or story or character development or anything. There's nothing. Number 7, we actually have a film that I enjoyed, but I don't like the direction they went with it. Number 7, I have Megan 2.0. Now, this is not a horror movie. That's why I hate it so much. But I have it on the list because it's a sequel to a horror movie that everybody wanted this movie to be a horror film. Instead of just taking the same character from the first movie and putting her in a new genre, we wanted you to take the character from the first movie and go further horror with it. Make it a rated R gore fest where she's tearing through people. That's what I wanted personally. I know that's what most people wanted with this film, but I don't mind the film we got. I am one of the few people who was like, yeah, anytime Megan is there, I will show up and watch it, because Megan is what made the original film so great, and she's what makes me enjoy the second film, because she's such a great villain. But with that being said, yeah, I do wish this was a horror movie. If it was a horror movie, it would be a significant amount better, but I don't think it's a bad film for not being a horror film. I think it's a good movie, but I do wish it was horror. Coming in at number 6, we have another extremely disappointing sequel to a film that didn't even need a sequel. I guess it's a prequel, but we do have Don't Breathe 2. Now, you get the blind man from the first film, who you could possibly see as a victim because he's being robbed by these people and he's just kind of fighting back. But you can't by the end of the film, because they reveal the woman he has tied up in the basement, who he is trying to impregnate with a turkey baster of his own. So by the end of the film, no, he is a bad guy. He is an evil, cruel guy. Like, he is not a good person. So then why the hell would you follow it up with a prequel where you make him the protagonist? You make him the hero. You make him the guy you're supposed to root for. Why would that make any sense? Like, if you had taken out that scene with the woman tied up in the basement, you could do this, but you can't, because it reveals he is a horrendous, terrible human being. And then you make us want to root for him. Or, I mean, you try to make us want to root for him. Don't do that. Getting into our top 5, I do have the Wolfman remake from last year, directed by Leigh Whannell. I was so excited for this film because A, I love werewolf stories, and B, I love Leigh Whannell movies, especially his remake of another classic horror film, The Invisible Man. I love that remake, I love Upgrade, and I love his Insidious movie. So I was really, really looking forward to what he could do with the Wolfman story. And it was nothing. He couldn't do anything with it. He doesn't go for anything related to the original story, and he just tells a completely new and original werewolf story, which I'm fine with, but make it an interesting werewolf story, please, because it's not an interesting story. It's just this guy and his family go to a cabin where his dad used to live. His dad passed away, and now this dad gets bit by a werewolf and is turning into a werewolf. So it's just an extremely boring, played out, not anything special werewolf movie. Like, I absolutely love Julia Garner, and she tries her best in this movie, but it's just not anything special. So it really disappointed me, because like I said, I love Lee Winnell and I love the Wolfman, so I was really looking forward to it, and it was just meh. Number 4, I understand this one won't be near anybody's top 10 most disappointing because nobody really cares about this series, but I do more than most series. It is my second favorite horror franchise of all time, right below Friday the 13th. Paranormal Activity: Next of Kin. See, when this film was announced, I was excited as hell because I had seen the original 6 Paranormal Activity films. I love the original 6 Paranormal Activity films, even the bad ones. I do enjoy Ghost Dimension, but what they do with what I was looking for in a new film was, hey, what are they going to do with the story? How are they going to continue it? Are they going to bring back Katie? Are they going to bring back the demon, Toby? Are you going to bring back any of the characters? You can bring back Hunter or Christy from part 2, even though she's dead. I don't know. Do something with it. And what they go for is a cash grab sequel that has absolutely nothing to do with the previous 6 films, completely unrelated, a completely new story that just slaps the Paranormal Activity name on it. And normally in a franchise I don't care that much about, I would be fine with that, just telling a new, unique story. But with a franchise I have this much investment in, and this much investment in the characters that I've been watching for 6 films, it really, really hurt to get a film that is just completely unrelated, completely separate, and barely even supernatural. So I really, really wanted this to be a good entry in the Paranormal Activity series, but it was just a boring, straightforward demon film that steals the Paranormal Activity name. So it really disappointed me. Number 3, I'm going with The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. This one is especially bad in hindsight because I really enjoyed Conjuring Last Rites. So we have 3 good Conjuring movies. The first 2 Conjuring movies, amazing. The 4th one, not most people's favorite, but I enjoyed it. The rest of the Conjuring series, the Annabelle movies, besides Creation, are bad. The Nun movies are bad. The Curse of La Llorona is bad. But the Conjuring movies have been consistently good, and that's why this one disappointed me so much, because you get the guy who did Curse of La Llorona to direct this movie. Curse of La Llorona could be better, but at its core, it's just a basic, forgettable, nothing demon movie. And that's what he turns The Conjuring 3 into. It's just a boring, nothing demon movie where you get Ed and Lorraine back, but not even they managed to leave an impression on you. I just really wished they had done anything different with the story here and at least tried to proceed and grow the Warrens at all, because they're essentially nothing happens with them in this film. Like, by the time you get to Conjuring 4, you realize that you could have just skipped The Conjuring 3, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of the series, because like by the time they got to part 4, they were like, yeah, let's just ignore that one never happened. And you really only need to see the first 2 for the 4th one to make any sense. So I wish it was better. I really just wish it was better. Like, it doesn't even have to be a great film, just a fine film, and it's not. It's a bad one, so it unfortunately kind of ruined the Conjuring series. Not the Conjuring universe, just the specific Conjuring movies, so yeah. Now we're at our top 2, the top 2 most disappointing films of the last 5 years. These ones were not much of a competition. It was like, these were my top 2, and then everybody's fighting for 3rd place pretty much, because number 2, we have Halloween Ends. Now, I am not the biggest fan of the Halloween series, but I loved Halloween 2018. I enjoyed Halloween Kills, and I was extremely looking forward to what they were going to do to close out the trilogy. And it was so right there. It was right there. Like, you advertised it as the film we wanted. Everybody was like, it doesn't even have to be a good film. Just have the final showdown. Laurie v. Michael. Michael's hunting Laurie the entire time. Laurie can never manage to kill him. And then in the final act, it's just this all-out battle between them where she finally takes down Michael. And instead, they're like, yeah, that's the logical next step in the story. But what if we take the previous two films that we were building up everything in, ignore them. They don't matter. It's not. We're closing chapter of a trilogy. What'd you say? Whatever. We're gonna ignore those two, and we're gonna tell a completely new story with a character who was never in the previous two films. We never brought up one time. We're gonna tell a completely new story with him. But here's the problem: you could tell a completely new story with him and have it be a decent film. Don't make it the closing act of the trilogy and commit to it, because they don't commit and they kill him off in the end of the second act. So the first two acts are building up this character and building up this new villain and the cycle of evil, and then at the end of the second act they're like, all right, he's dead, and now we're gonna give you that film that you were wanting. So now the third act's just gonna be Laurie v. Michael, and it's a very underwhelming fight. They fight each other in the kitchen and Laurie takes him down with no effort needed. Like, he already got beat up by Corey in this film, so Laurie Strode kicks the shit out of him in like a half a second. So just a very, very disappointing, underwhelming closing chapter to a trilogy that it was so easy to get right. Like, you had the blueprints, you knew what the fans wanted because you advertised it to us, and then they didn't do it. But the number one most disappointing horror film of the 2020s so far is the film from this year, Scream 7. The biggest problem with Scream 7 is that up to this point, you have been batting 1,000. Like, I personally don't like Scream 2, but for everybody else out there, you're batting 1,000. You have a good, solid film for all 6 movies in the franchise. And then you botch this one because you can't get Melissa Barrera back because you fired her, and Jenna Ortega left, and now the directors are gone. You had Christopher Landon, but because you fired Melissa Barrera, he left too. So now you're stuck with the original writer, and now he also has to direct the film, and you get Sydney and you get Gale. You don't use Gale at all, but you get Sydney, and you just don't do what anybody wanted for a new film, because it's so easy to make a film that people want. It may have been predictable, but give us Stu back. If you'd have given us Stu back, people might actually really like this film, just for the fact that we got him back. But instead, they tease it, and they tantalize you, and they dangle the carrot in front of your face, and they're like, hey, look, he might be back, he might be back, he might be back, and no, it's AI. And then they drop the 3 worst ghost faces of the entire series. Carl, don't know who that is. Marco, wasn't he that guy from that one scene that one time in like the middle of the movie where he just had like 2 lines? Okay. And then Jennifer. If you want proof of how forgettable these ghost faces are, her name is not Jennifer. It's Jessica. Wasn't that Sydney's neighbor who had nothing to do with the plot and just kind of stood there for a couple of scenes? Okay. Yeah, no, those are your 3 ghost faces. And what are their motivations? Carl, Marco, and Jennifer. She doesn't like that Sydney doesn't want to be Sydney Prescott. She doesn't want to have survived 6, 5, however many ghost face attacks. And then the characters are idiotic. Tatum is a moron in this film. All of her friends are dumb as bricks. Mindy and Chad are brought back. I don't like them that much, so that didn't really do anything for me. Gail is brought back. She doesn't do anything in the film, so I just didn't like it. It's bad. It's a bad Scream movie. Like, the first act, I was kind of into it. I kind of liked it. And then they just piss it all away and make the worst Scream film we have ever gotten and tarnish the legacy of a great horror franchise. So I really, really wish we had gotten just a solid Scream movie again, but they couldn't do that. So we have the most disappointing film of the last 5 years. So yeah, it's bad. And that is going to be it for today's video. Remember, if you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. So if you want to see more videos like it in the future, hit the bell notification to be notified when we post any brand new videos. Comment down below some more video ideas for me or your own list of the 10 most disappointing horror films of the last 10 years. My personal top 10 is not the only disappointing films of the last 5 years, but they are the most disappointing films of the last 5 years. So until next time, I'm EthanHorror. Click one of the videos on screen if you want to see more stuff from me. And this has been EthanHorror. See ya.